Good morning, everybody. My name is Carolyn, and I am with Midwest Manufacturers Association, and I welcome you to our manufacturing industry webinar series. And today we are going to be talking about exporting resources and the Port of Duluth-Superior, your business's gateway to the world. I'd like to welcome our two speakers. We have Kate Ferguson, she is the Director of Trade and Business Development at the Duluth Seaway Port Authority, and Vicki Hagberg, Regional Director of Northland Small Business Development Center. And finally, my last bit of information is I'd like to thank our sponsor for this webinar. It's W. Goman Construction. Finally, as we go, if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, or we've been given an okay to interrupt as needed with any questions, so you can ask right away. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Right. Thank you. And thank you again for having us. I am Kate Ferguson. I'm the Director of Trade and Business Development here at the Duluth Seaway Port Authority. I'm going to go through some of what I have to tell you today, and then I'm going to hand it over to Vicki to talk about a resource that's really great that was developed in Minnesota and is available for small businesses to learn and explore exporting opportunities. So I'm going to start today with a little bit about the Duluth Superior Port, and then I'm actually going to talk about a program that helps importers that might also export, not called the Foreign Trade Zones program. So we're going to talk a little bit about both those things today. So here we sit in the middle of North America here at the Port of Duluth-Superior. We do call ourselves Mid-America's Gateway. We are almost geographically centered in North America, and we can get international traffic in via water from the Atlantic Ocean via the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway system all the way here to Duluth. So it gives us a lot of opportunities to help small and large manufacturers alike with access to the world. We kind of show ourselves as really active in all parts of the state of Minnesota. This is a legislative piece that we put together to talk to our legislators, but you can see here that things that touch the Port of Duluth-Superior touch all parts of Minnesota. So no matter where you are, you're included in what Duluth can deliver for your supply chain. We have some really great assets here in the Port of Duluth-Superior when it comes to transportation and supply chain, including 4 Class 1 railroads right here in Duluth. And I'll talk a little bit maybe more about why that's important as I go on, but we do have access to the BNSF, CN, CP, KCS, and the Union Pacific. We also have, except during construction season, really uncongested, great access to highways, which is important for all of our partners in Minnesota and across our region, really. We invest here at the Duluth Seaway Port Authority in a lot of infrastructure. And the reason that this is important is because we invest in this infrastructure for you. This infrastructure is how we, as a public agency, interact with private world, importing and exporting, whether that be via container traffic, vessel traffic, or just warehousing and distribution. So we have made over $50 million in infrastructure investments since 2015. So in 10 years, over $50 million. And really that is to play on the Duluth Seaway Port Authority's mission of bringing value to the regional economic development world. So that is making sure that we have assets that are ready to go for our local businesses to get access, like I said earlier, to that global market. And we continue looking at places where we can make an impact. So just as an example, this dock here in the port needs to be restored. It is no longer functional, and we are looking, it says 25 million demolition and dock restoration project. We're probably closer to the $35 million point now due to all of the great inflation that we're seeing, but also just steel prices. And are we going to put a warehouse, or are we going to put rail lines? And that's still growing, evolving, changing. And really, we're looking for partners on how best to develop that property to meet the global demand and regional demand by our manufacturers and industry. What we do here at the Port of Duluth-Superior, and particularly at Duluth Cargo Connect. So maybe just a quick second about Duluth Cargo Connect. Duluth Cargo Connect is a joint partnership between the Duluth Seaway Port Authority, who's a public agency, and our private partner in Lake Superior Warehousing. So the Duluth Seaway Port Authority owns all the assets on our terminal, and then Lake Superior Warehousing operates them on our behalf. And Duluth Cargo Connect is the brand that we have given to that operation. And this is what really gets to the meat of how we together in this Duluth Cargo Connect brand support transportation, supply chain, industry, importing, exporting throughout our region. So let me just give you a couple of examples that are right here in this slide. So the top picture is how we bring in lumber from Canada. We bring in a lot of forest products from Canada. We bring it in by rail here into our warehousing and distribution facility, and then it gets redistributed out of our facility. So we call ourselves a strategic reload. And so it comes in kind of a bulk form from the customer in Canada. Then we get orders. So we actually take the customer's orders and build them rail cars to specification or build them truckloads to specification as needed by the consumer right from our warehouse. So that's one example of a way that we help our regional economy. If you live in the Duluth region and you've built a house recently, there is a good chance that the lumber for your wall sheathing, roof sheathing, all came through Duluth Cargo Connect. And Vicki, I'm looking at you because I know you and I both have built things here in the last couple of years. So I then want to point out this second picture, which is a paper customer. So there are a lot of paper producers in our region, and a lot of those paper producers are stuck. They are stuck on one railroad. They only have service from one of those 4 railroads that we offer at our terminal. And so what they choose to do, they may ship out some on the railroad that they have, and this is domestic shipping, or they may load trucks, bring them to Duluth, and we use our advantage of having multiple distribution abilities, multiple railroads. It could go on the water if need be. It could go by truck still yet again. And we develop those loads as they need them and load them out onto the transportation infrastructure that gets them to wherever the end customer may be. So we really consider ourselves a partner in your transportation and supply chain because we have this excellent access to both the global and domestic supply chain. So just a couple examples. Lastly, it's not in this picture, but I'll give you an example of one customer who is in southwestern Minnesota that brings in their mined product from all over the world right here to Duluth Cargo Connect. And again, we take product from China and product from Europe and product from Turkey and product from Canada. And we bring it all in here in bulk loads. And then they say, we need 2 from here and 2 from there and 2 from there. And we develop a just-in-time load that goes right into their production process. So it's a way to expand your production capability without expanding your warehouse capability because we got you covered when it comes to that. So that's some of the distribution opportunities we have, especially domestically here in the Port of Duluth-Superior. But I also want to point out that we have a container service that goes direct between Duluth and Antwerp, Belgium. It did start in 2023. We get monthly service from Antwerp. We also get service from the Mediterranean every 6 weeks. It was initially built as a container-only service. We're finding that we're actually bringing in a variety of cargoes on these ships. So there may be 40 containers. There may be also on the same ship 10 windmill parts. There might be some transformers. There might be some gen sets, all on one vessel load. So these are really multi-purpose vessels that can handle all kinds of different commodities and cargoes to and from our partners in Antwerp, Belgium. But what I really wanted to talk to you about today is how you might be able to, especially if you're an importer, save on your duty payments. And so I want to talk to you about the Foreign Trade Zone program. The Foreign Trade Zone program is a federal program, which means that it's a little bit challenging. It's got a lot of details. So what I'm going to try to cover with you today is that foreign trade zones are for everyone. There are 3 foreign trade zones in the state of Minnesota, one in International Falls, one here in Duluth, and one in the metropolitan area run by the Department of Employment and Economic Development, DEED. So wherever you are in Minnesota, there is a foreign trade zone that can meet your needs. So this happens to be a slide of where our service territory is here in Duluth. And this is the service territory that's easily accessible. So what is a foreign trade zone? A foreign trade zone is technically a space in which imported goods can come to, but yet not get into commerce of the United States. So again, it's a very challenging program because there's a lot of nuance, but I'm going to try to explain to you how this works. So a non-foreign trade zone facility, and I want to thank our partners. This is a Quad presentation. Quad is a consultant that we use on foreign trade zone matters, and they have done several presentations for us here in Minnesota. So some of these slides are from Quad. So Quad provided these slides, and now we're going to just simply walk through them. So a non-foreign trade zone facility would import a container. You'd pay the duty immediately because that is when your container goes into commerce. So you're paying the duties, then you move the cargo to your warehouse. But with a foreign trade zone, there is a duty deferral benefit immediately upon just that first piece. And that would be that your imported container moves directly to a foreign trade zone, which means that you are not paying duties yet because your duties only are once the cargo enters U.S. commerce. And a foreign trade zone, like I told you, is outside of U.S. commerce. So there's a big benefit here that you could bring in 200 containers, leave them in a foreign trade zone warehouse or a foreign trade zone space. And if you took them out one at a time, you would only pay the duty on each container you bring them out as you bring them out. So it kind of is a cash flow piece here. You, instead of paying, let's call it $100 million up front, you might be able to pay it $1 million at a time instead to really help keep your business afloat. Again, the foreign trade zone program is mostly for importers. There is a benefit on foreign trade zones called an inverted tariff benefit. Unfortunately, right now with the current tariff situation, this benefit is not accessible. It may be again in the future. Basically, this benefit would be if you transformed your product within the foreign trade zone and the new product would have come in at a lesser duty than all of the parts and components came in at, you could actually get the lesser duty on all those parts and components. Unfortunately, with the current tariff situation, their special tariffs no longer allow for an inverted tariff benefit. But this is something that certainly if you're a producer, a manufacturer, there is a future here of this benefit returning. Another benefit of the foreign trade zone is a duty avoidance on exports. So if you happen to be a manufacturer or producer that brings in a lot of imported product, you produce something and then you re-export it to Canada, Europe, anywhere in the world, you never have a duty on that product. So the foreign trade zone program in this case is really about making and keeping jobs in the United States, right? Because we're trying to compete against foreign places that do this exact same thing and don't have the US tariffs or duties on the product. So just again, a photograph of what I'm trying to say is if you bring something in at a 4% duty rate, you put it in a foreign trade zone and then you just re-export it to Canada because you're a distributor, or if you've changed it at all and then you re-export it, there's no duty paid on the product that you brought in. So that's a really great cost savings. There's a merchandise processing fee reduction. This is, again, a much more nuanced concept, and you would have to import likely quite a bit of stuff in order to make this make sense for you. But as a, photograph of the process. Instead of paying this fee every time you brought in a container, you would pay it once per week instead of each time you bring in a shipment. Again, this would be a really big benefit for those companies that import a lot of product. Oh, I think that's the same slide. Okay, so this is just how it would be if you didn't use a foreign trade zone. You can see each container has a cost, and then this one is that each one would have a cost, but then you would just pay the weekly fee once. So I apologize for the confusion there. There's also a duty elimination on scrap inside of a foreign trade zone. So if you have wastage or something comes into the zone with damage on it, you never pay a duty on those things. So this can be, in some cases, let's say people bring in, this wouldn't be popular, but sheets of steel, and you cut things out of the sheets of steel and maybe 20% goes into waste because you can't cut any more out of it. It goes to scrap. That wouldn't have necessarily a duty on that part that goes to scrap. And lastly, there's this benefit of zone-to-zone transfers. So let's say that you have a production facility in Tennessee and also a facility in Minnesota, and they're both within the foreign trade zone program. You can move goods between the two. So I'm just going to use a manufacturer that produces an airplane, let's say. They produce the airplane in Tennessee, but they need to move it to Minnesota to get painted and some final seats and electronics and things, and then move it back to Tennessee for its final production. All of that can be done without without a duty put on it until the plane was ready to be consumed by the end consumer. Again, if it is into the US commerce, you'd pay a duty once it's ready. But if you were, let's say, shipping it to a customer in Canada, you again would not pay any duty on that product. So it's a very confusing program. I sure hope I didn't confuse all of you beyond recognition, but there's always time for you to reach out to me if you have further questions on this program. I know my contact information will be in the chat. I'm always happy to have a conversation about how this program works and if it could be right for you. And that is kind of the end of my section. Just to wrap up, the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway provides this opportunity for global distribution for our regional economy. That's whether or not you're in Duluth, Minnesota. We certainly have a large catchment area outside of the Duluth area. We have options for large and small importers and exporters, and the Foreign Trade Zone program is just one tool that we might be able to offer you here in Minnesota as a manufacturer, as a distributor, to save on some of the duties and costs of importing and exporting. Carolyn, are there any questions for me at this time? Otherwise, I'd be happy to pass it off to Vicki.
I do not see anything at this time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Everyone, I'm Vicki Hagberg. I'm the Regional Director of Northland Small Business Development Center. I'm going to pull up my presentation here, and I'd say if you do have a question for Kate, you want to drop in the chat, feel free to do that, even if you're pulling together the words in the question now. Oh, very good. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about Northland SBDC in general, or Small Business Development Center, how our program's structured, how we help out manufacturers in the scope of our services, which are all provided at no cost to the small businesses we work with, and then how we worked with the Port Authority to develop a new tool for manufacturers that are looking at starting to engage in trade and export, or perhaps have dabbled in it in the past and really want to move into that area more. So Northland SBDC, our mission is guiding Minnesotans to small business success. And we are located in the 7 counties of northeastern Minnesota. And all are parts of 5 tribal nations where we share geography. And so Northland SBDC offers no cost, totally confidential consulting or technical assistance, we sometimes call that. The areas where traditionally we've worked in is helping businesses with financing, so maybe buying a building, buying equipment, doing capital improvements, and you need to get financing for those items. But also, sometimes on the marketing side or value proposition side of identifying your competitors and your value proposition, developing business plans for financing packages as well, or for the strategy of your own business. And a lot of folks in our areas buying or selling businesses. I know we have a manufacturer in our region right now transferring to the next generation of leadership at that organization that we're working with. It's pretty exciting. In addition to these kind of core finance and strategy areas, we also have experts in marketing and human resources, e-commerce, QuickBooks. And so it's really a wealth of available services that we offer. To give a little context, Northland SBDC here in the northeast part of the state is one of 9 in Minnesota. So if you aren't located in our region, there is an SBDC that serves you, and we all work together to help small businesses. We are a program of the SBA, the Federal Small Business Administration, but we're administered locally and really can tailor our program to the needs of our communities. We've been in Minnesota for over 40 years. And like I mentioned before, we collaborate and we partner with other SBDCs, with funders in our region like the state of Minnesota, DEED, IRRR, NRI, local communities. We really focus on bringing those resources to the businesses and navigating all that there is available to help small businesses in our region. We perform in the top 98% or so of SBDCs nationwide. This is something that I'm really proud of. Our team of 18 consultants throughout the region really bring both technical excellence and community knowledge to their work in helping out small businesses. Which leads me into this slide. Our strategic approach is focused in these 3 areas. Like I said, technical plus community knowledge. If you're struggling with workforce in your area, what are those options to partner with your local high school maybe, or what kind of special programs might be available through EDAs in your area. Bringing both of those together. Targeted training. So we seek not to offer every training under the sun. We're going to amplify those that are doing training at other organizations that are quality. So a lot of times SCORE, which is a nationwide program. Our partners at Entrepreneur Fund might have great training available as well. We're going to help amplify those things and then fill in where needed. And then those areas of specialized technical assistance. Currently, region-wide, we're offering in human resources, marketing, and QuickBooks, and are looking to bring on more services available in artificial intelligence adoption in the upcoming year as well. So what does it look like when Northland SBDC works with a manufacturer? How can we help your small business out? I have 6 kind of programs or ways that we've assisted small businesses that I'm going to run through. Don't worry about all the text on the screen. The first one is Accelerate Entrepreneurs. So this is only for businesses located in Minnesota Department of Iron Range Resource and Rehabilitation Service Area, or IRRR's service area. Those are grants from $5,000 to $15,000 to help manufacturers invest and prepare for growth opportunities that would increase their revenue. So we administer that program and offer technical assistance to help businesses really think about the true cost, scope, and impact of these growth opportunities and capital acquisitions that they're hoping to do for their small businesses. The Trade and Export Guide is something that's new. And we stepped back in the last year, and I was talking with Kate, and we really just wanted to understand where the system is failing for small businesses that want to start exporting or want to start importing. Where are those assistance pieces that are already established and doing great work? How do we connect folks to those? Where do we need to build capacity as organizations to better help small businesses, and particularly small manufacturers, as they look to engage in trade and export? And so we work together with the Port Authority, but also with about 10 other partners, both statewide and nationally, to really understand the landscape of resources available for small businesses that want to learn and get into this area. We have 3 trade specialists on our team that can help folks walk through this trade and export guide, and we're going to preview this at the end of the presentation today as well. Third topic, human resources. I think this is a very critical one here in Minnesota right now. We have a human resources expert on our team that does a lot of work helping people create and update policy manuals, helping people understand compliance for paid leave and earned sick and safe time, or ESST. And so our human resources expert, Ravina, works with manufacturers frequently, as well as other small businesses, to make sure that you have the processes and policies in place to protect your small business and to navigate the regulation that we all have to comply with. Growth planning, and this is going to be tied into some ways into this the next one of equipment acquisition. We have a couple of folks on our team that can work in accrual basis accounting and take a look at your, what inventory look like, what is your accounts receivables, accounts payables look like on a regular basis, and what would it mean for you to grow your business particularly rapidly, right? So say you wanted to grow your business or had the opportunity to do so 50% in a year. That is definitely in the uncomfortable zone for most small businesses. And it takes a lot of cash. You get cash tied up in inventory, you get cash tied up in accounts receivables. And so we can help project and prepare you to get the financing you need to be successful. We've seen too many businesses grow, which sounds like a great thing, but then fail due to cash flow issues shortly thereafter. Equipment acquisitions, one of our tried and true things. We have many, many people on our team that can help businesses prepare cash flow projections and navigate business finance applications. We work with lenders in our area to really understand what they're looking for when they receive a financing application. And so we have these tried and true, vetted, developed templates, like our cash flow projection template, that we can help you fill out so that you can save your time and hopefully not have to do quite so much work yourself as you look to acquire new equipment or make capital investments. And last, marketing training. So we've helped some manufacturers with SEO. That's a rapidly changing field right now with AI searching coming on board as well. But development of marketing plans, maybe press releases, and all of these items are really here, structured to teach you how to do rather than to do it for you. So I do want to set that expectation of anyone that works with us. It's provided at no cost. The investment is your time into learning these new skills and tools. But we're not going to write your business plan for you, right? We're gonna help guide you, coach you, ask great questions as you go through that process. But we are here as a guide and as a resource for you, but it will still require work on your part. So what does that look like? In our last fiscal year, we helped businesses raise over $60 million of capital, helped over 60 new businesses start in Northeast Minnesota, and served nearly 1,000 small businesses. We help over 5% of all the established businesses in Northeast Minnesota every single year. And big impact on jobs, over 3,000 jobs created or retained thanks to our help and assistance with those small businesses, and deployed about 4,500 hours of consulting. And something I always like to say about this, we only get to count these numbers if a small business takes the time after working with us to sit down, fill out, and sign a form saying, I couldn't have done this without SBDC's help. Northland SBDC helped me accomplish these goals. And so we're really proud of the impact that we have on small businesses in our region and our effectiveness. And hope we can help some more folks out from AMFA and from Midwest Manufacturing Associations, organizations as well. So if you're hopefully wowed and didn't know that this resource was available, how can you get in contact with us? How can you access these services? I mentioned we have 3 people trained in trade and export that can help guide you through this trade and export reference guide we're going to go through briefly here. Jenny Herman is actually located in International Falls, has connections in that community. Convenient, one of our other foreign trade zones in our state. Mary Lundeen has been with our organization for quite some time. She's in the Duluth area. And myself, I'm the regional director located on the Iron Range, although we meet with folks virtually all throughout the region. The best way to access our team of consultants is to go to northlandsbdc.org and hit the request for services button. We require everyone that works with us to fill a short form. It takes about 5 minutes to access our services. And once we see that form come in, we get you connected with a local consultant that can help guide you and connect you with other consultants in our network as needed and move your project forward. So I'm gonna pause and navigate here to our trade and export guide. Maybe. There we go. So this trade and export guide, it's in PDF format. I'm gonna go through the sections briefly today with some takeaways that we had as we were building this reference tool. And this is going to be sent to all of the registrants of this webinar. And if you're watching a recording of this afterwards, you can register for services at Northland SBDC, and we're happy, or reach out to me. We're happy to share this guide with anyone that would find it helpful. So our guide is split into 4 phases of exporting. And as we looked at the process that someone needs to go through to understand if they're ready to export, to build the plan, to go ahead and execute, we really found that there were 4 phases that we felt most new exporters and importers would have to go through. The first phase is assessing. And so, is your business ready to export? I think one of the things sometimes businesses think is, oh, what a great opportunity to be able to export my goods, or what an opportunity to be able to import something at lower price. But particularly on the export side, I would say, your business needs to be in a pretty good spot before you take on this growth opportunity for a variety of reasons of financing and the risk that your business might be taking in working in foreign markets. It's risk and reward, right? We all know it. We all navigate that daily. So helping understand and really assess, is your business ready? Do you have the financial resources you need? Do you need to look at additional IP protection? Do you have the capacity to grow your production and to manage that effectively? Do you need help and need to bulk up with logistics understanding, right? What regulations are going to be applicable? Are you ready, right, as a business owner, perhaps, especially for smaller firms? Do you have the credit and finance readiness to move forward? So we have a short assessment tool in here before we move into research. So first, let's see if you're ready. The second spot The world is full of different markets and different opportunities, and finding the right ones is really important. There are cultural components, there's logistics components, there's tariff components, regulatory components, right? And so um, there's a handful of really good resources out there that let you start to check off, all right, which countries might be a good fit for your small business. Free trade agreements, right? It's much easier, much less expensive to do trade in with some countries rather than others, right? I think we're seeing that intensely here in 2025. Understanding your costs, right? Your landed costs are how much does it take to get your product to a customer's door? Understanding all the different components of that so that you can set appropriate pricing. Credit programs, Ex-Im Bank, SBA, Export Working Capital Program is another great one available. We can help you navigate which of those might be applicable for you. Understanding the importance of invoices and Incoterms and what kind of shipping you might want to, either as an exporter or as an importer, is going to be right for your business. What's your tolerance for risk versus the costs that you're willing to pay to engage in this commerce? And so going through really pretty detailed here, step by step, landing you with your action steps of what you should be looking at. And you can see this plan. Trade and export, from my perspective, it's not wise to just decide you're going to do it and jump right in. This is probably going to be a plan that you are developing over a period of several months or even a year as you prepare on the finance side of it, the logistics side of it, the production side of things, and others, before you get into that detailed export plan. So which products, which markets, you're really getting down to that nitty-gritty piece of your export plan. And this is very similar, very tangential to a business plan. And there's going to be a lot of overlap between your business plan and your export plan. So in-depth considerations that you should be looking at, those financial projections piece. And this is a spot where SBDC can really help you out. Again, this is a guide. The learning and the doing will be largely on you and your small business. But these financial projections are where our consultants can really help provide value as you look at different scenarios of different landed costs, different pricing, looking at the feasibility of distribution models versus direct customer, what that might be looking like. And then getting into phase 4 of executing, making that first sale, making that first purchase, and ways to find customers and close that deal. This document then also has a series of resources available. So we're not the only ones, right, that can help in this field, and we don't have the knowledge and capacity to be really in-depth experts in every aspect of trade and export. So other resources, the U.S. Commercial Service, extraordinarily valuable, hopefully still available for us here again in the future, near future. USDA helps a lot with ag products. There's a lot of resources available, and the long and short of it is SBDC is here to help guide you through that, and hopefully connect you to what you need to be successful and to move into this growth opportunity for your business. And so that's all I had for today's presentation, but I'm happy to take any questions that may have come up about Northland SBDC in general, any of our programs, or our trade and export guide. And we can give folks a minute to type anything in the chat, but I want to take a minute to share my appreciation for Kate and for the Duluth Port Authority for working with us so closely. We put in about a year's worth of effort to build that trade and export guide, and we are looking forward to it making hopefully a good impact for the businesses, not only in Northeast Minnesota, but throughout our state, as well as for AMFA for giving us this opportunity to talk about our resources today.
All right.
And
Not seeing any-
same for me, Vicki. I'm impressed at how well your team learned all of the things that go into trade development and exporting. And it's so important for our small and mid-sized companies to have access to the resources. And I just want to plug that, you know, SBDC not only can help you with the plan, but can connect you to all of these great resources. Because, and you showed it briefly, but, you know, there are so many out there, so many available. And SBDC has the ability to make sure you get to the right place at your right stage.
Great.
All right. I'm not seeing any questions. Anything else, you guys?
No, this was great. Thank you so much for
Yes,
having us. And if
Yeah, I want to
anybody
thank
has,
you both. Yes, because
Yeah. anybody has any questions, they are welcome to reach out to Vicki or myself, whether that be for just transportation, FTZ, the trying to learn how to export. We are here to help in whatever way we can.
Perfect. Yes, it was an insightful and engaging session, and we super appreciate you guys sharing your expertise with us. And we have any questions, we'll be in touch. I will send the video to everyone who registered, along with the copies of your PowerPoint and other documents that were mentioned. So, all right, guys.
Sounds good.
Off
Thank
we go
you.
then. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.